Bethany here, your clean eating coach. Today, I want to share with you some confessions of a health coach. I don't do this clean eating journey perfectly, by no means. Actually, just last night, it really hit me that I think I've been really leaning on processed food, especially frozen, quite a bit more lately than I realized. And that's a big deal because I really believe it's important to practice what you preach. And the fact is, I believe and I share that the best way to live life in terms of food is plant-based, low processing, fresh, usually making it yourself. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure you guys are aware that I don't do this journey perfectly. And that can be hard for me because I do feel that pressure of like, I want to do this well and model it well for everyone to see. But the fact is, like, I'm human too. I get busy, I look for convenience. And honestly, there are parts within nutrition that I kind of ignore. Like recently I've realized that when it comes to the nutrition labels, like I ignore cholesterol and sodium largely. And guess what? I shouldn't be ignoring those. Those are an important part of determining if food is really healthy or not. And so that's something that I'm committing to learning more about and changing in how I eat. And I wanted to let you guys know that I want to be more conscious of that. Something I'm endeavoring this coming week, based on my recent realizations, is I want to avoid all processed frozen food this week. That's something that in my household we've been leaning on a little bit lately, whether it be a frozen pizza or some pre-made tamales from Costco. And the fact is, I think on some of those things I've gotten a little lazy, and I've not really checked the nutrition facts to see, do they really line up with plant-based eating? And the fact is, sometimes frozen food is going to, but more often than not, it doesn't, at least the ones that are like pre-made and ready to eat. So that's something I'm committing to, is to do my research more thoroughly for myself. And one thing that's also hard, and I mentioned this in a previous video, is that, you know, when your family or your spouse or your community doesn't have the same eating goals, or they buy things that go against how you want to eat, it can be tricky. And honestly, guys, that's been hard for me lately. I buy certain things, like at the grocery store, I bought several bags of tortilla chips, popcorners, different healthier chips, but they're still chips, y'all. They're still processed. And I bought them because I enjoy them, but also because my spouse really enjoys them. So it's like I kind of bought them as a treat, and it's like I love you, but the fact is, like, I'm gonna eat them too. I'm gonna gobble them up. It's really hard for me to have the self-control when the things are right in front of my face. When he'll go to the grocery store, he'll also buy certain things, or ask me to buy certain things that aren't in line with a plant-based diet. And that's a struggle for me. I know I've talked about how important it is to live and let live, not let others change the way you eat, but also not to judge how they eat. But the fact is, it's challenging. It's really challenging to keep a healthy diet when there's junk food and food around your home that you enjoy, but that you've determined is not part of how you want to eat. And so I want to acknowledge that that's been a struggle for me lately, but I'm committed to having a clean eating lifestyle. It's really important to me. I want to feel better. I want to look better. I want to have better energy. And I also don't want to be faking myself out, pretending that I'm eating really healthy all the time, when the fact is, maybe I'm not, and I want to own up to that. So I always encourage you, take responsibility for the choices you're making, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. So for this coming week, one of my commitments is to avoid frozen food. Again, I mean like processed frozen food. We have frozen blueberries and mangoes. Those are completely normal. They're just frozen, right? So those are good. But any of the frozen processed meals that we've been eating, I'm committing to avoiding those. So in order to do that, I have to make a plan. I have to think about, what am I gonna eat when my spouse inevitably says, hey, let's throw in the frozen pizza. This week, I've already decided ahead of time, I'm going to say no. no. He can have it, he can enjoy it all, but I'm choosing not to. Speaking of frozen pizza, one thing I realized last night, I was looking into sodium and how it affects your body and the positives and negatives. And one thing I realized with this specific pizza we buy is that one serving is like 1,300 milligrams of sodium. That's over half of what your max should be of sodium intake for a day. That blew me away and made me realize, I'm not being quite as diligent in this area as I would like to be. So that was a big eye-opener for me. So I will be avoiding foods like that. You know, I say all this because I want you to know that we are each imperfect. We're each on our journey. And when I say that, I really want you to believe me, that it's not just you on your journey, that it's me on my journey. And so the biggest thing is to be real with yourself, be real with your community. And if you have someone coaching you, counseling you, be real with them, because they really want to support you, just like I want to support you through this channel. Here's to clean eating in a stumbling, imperfect way, where we give grace to ourselves and others, where we make big commitments and big choices, because our bodies and our health is worth it.